What's up, everybody? I survived the earthquake of the century. Just kidding. It really wasn't the earthquake of the century. Maybe this earthquake or these two earthquakes that happened in LA are hinting at another one that's coming, aka something called the big one. Regardless, two earthquakes that hit did not scare me away from Los Angeles. So what I'm talking today about my list of the top 10 foods in eating disorder recovery. Now, Ken, what do you mean top 10 foods? Are these like the best foods ever? No, not necessarily. What constitutes as a top food? Well, okay, there's a couple criteria. Is this just like what tastes good? Is this just like looks good? Dude, chill. There were a list of criteria that I developed for making this list. Top food criteria for eating disorder recovery. Number 1, taste. Like, how good does the food taste? Number 2, nutrition. Is the food nutritious? Does it provide nutritional value? Number 3, these are foods that will not make you super bloated or super full. Number 4, I wanted to find foods that actually got the job done. Job meaning helped gain weight. The 5th criteria are foods that I could actually handle eating in the middle of an eating disorder. As I built this list out of my top 10 foods for eating disorder recovery, I looked at all 5 of these criteria. Again, good taste, good nutrition, stuff that didn't make you super bloated or super full, stuff that got the job done, aka gaining weight, and stuff that I could actually handle in an eating disorder. And yeah, there's like a ton of personal preference here. A lot of the stuff, all of these I did eat in recovery. Some foods were closer to the beginning, some foods were closer to the end, but all these foods I came to appreciate during and mostly after the fact, after I was outside of recovery. So here it is, my list, top 10 foods for eating disorder recovery. Number 1 on the list are nut butters. Nut butters taste really good. There are a large variety of nut butters. They are calorically dense and they don't make you super bloated or super full. I think the thing that I always appreciated about peanut butter specifically is that it was always really cheap. It honestly didn't fill me up super a lot. Like, it was calorically dense to the point of it being like a really good treat, but also it packing enough nutrients and calories. The thing that I had to get over with things like nut butters or peanut butter was like the fat count in my mind. Again, fat was like always a bad thing, but peanut butter really allowed me to kind of press against that fear of fats in foods. I got over the fear of fats by eating peanut butter. As I started to eat more and more peanut butter, as I got more and more okay with eating more peanut butter, I started eating other foods which also had a decent amount of fat in it as well. And the great thing about nut butter is that there are so many of them. Peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, sunflower butter, I'm missing one. I'm missing a couple. Well, basically, there's a lot of variety and you can make it yourself if you want to. It's actually pretty good if you do. Number 2, oats. So I ate a lot of oats in my days of the initial phase of my recovery when I was in middle school and the second half of recovery when I was in college. Oats were actually probably one of the biggest things that I used to bulk up when I went from like 130 to 170. So oats really hold a special place in my heart. Oats are very versatile. You can make oats sweet, you can make savory oats. Oats are basically like the flavor profile you can change to just about anything. It's nutritious, it gets the job done for weight gain, for recovery. However good you want to make it taste, because if you just eat it plain, it's gonna taste really bad. That actually encouraged me to put things inside of the oats to make it taste better, because otherwise I didn't like eating just like plain oats made with water. Like, it was awful. I remember doing this. I even got to the point where I don't think this was actually very good, but I boiled oats. I made oats with Ensure. So basically I opened up an Ensure, poured it in a pot, and like put the oats in and boiled it and made it like through that. So I basically boiled oats with Ensure. I actually think that was like kind of decent. That's just like, if you can boil oats with Ensure, that goes to show you what you can do with both oats and Ensure. 3, eggs. Eggs are cheap. Eggs, again, you can really change the flavor profile of. They aren't too filling. They're packed with nutrition, and there's something that's really easy to actually like scale up. So something that I would do in recovery was I started out eating like 2 eggs at a time, and it was really easy, like when I needed to kind of bump up what I was eating. It was either I could add more of another food or I could add to what I was already eating. And with eggs, that was actually not too hard to do. All I had to do was add another egg, and then when it was time to add more, add another egg. By the time I was done like leveling up all my food, I was eating like 5 or 6 eggs at a time. Really good fats, really good amount of protein, and you can make it a lot of different ways. Also, if you get really good at making eggs, people will be impressed by your egg making skills. Number 4 are shakes. You can lump protein shakes into here or just any other kind or type of shake, but I'm talking about like it could be an Ensure shake, which I've already made other videos about Ensure. It could be a shake that you make on your own, like a protein shake, or it could just be literally any shake in general. But there were, I fell back on shakes a number of times to gain weight, especially during my college years. Again, going from like that 130 to 170, 180. Shakes you can really influence the taste of. The shakes are really packed with nutrition. They get the job done. Don't feel bloated after drinking a shake. I will say at first that it was tough for me to handle drinking like 1,000-calorie shake. Like I just couldn't do that. What I honestly would recommend with this is like if you do want to drink shakes and you haven't yet, start out with just like an Ensure. Just drink an Ensure shake. Maybe throw one in a day, or make a protein shake that is similar to that level, and then just like keep on increasing, similar to the eggs. I mean, you can even put an egg in your shake if you want, but like just increase the shake from there. Next one, similar to a shake, not a shake, it's a protein bar. Okay, so I honestly also can't really count the number of times that protein bars have saved me. Protein bars are really good for travel. Remember, I would always really be confused and honestly stressed out when I would travel or when I would go somewhere that wasn't like home base, because it just threw me out of a rhythm and I wasn't really sure how to handle it. Protein bars helped to take a lot of guesswork out, so I just eat basically a number of protein bars when I was on the road or away from home. You can throw meal replacement bars in here. Whatever it was, protein bars really helped me maintain the amount of food and protein that I needed to eat while I was away from home. There are a lot of different options. There are a lot of ones that taste really good. I'm a personal fan of Quest. Quest protein bars are fantastic. Also, pro tip, learned this from a friend on Instagram. Microwaving protein bars is also a really good trick to just kind of make it like a treat. That's why I'm throwing protein bars in to my top 10. Next on the top 10 list are oils. Oils were difficult for me to really take full advantage of until later in my recovery. It's something that I wish I would have like pushed myself to overcome earlier on in my recovery, because once I took advantage of what oils could do, it really made gaining weight a lot easier. But oils don't taste good. Yeah, okay, you're not drinking oil straight, but you're using oil to make other food that you make taste better. So once I started using butter, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, whatever it was, once I started using oil and I'm using those oils today to make food, it makes food taste really, really good. Oils are basically just a way to like, you really don't even feel that much fuller. If you find yourself full from the amount of food that you're eating, really try to push yourself to implement more oils into your diet. Oils are a really good way to pack in more food, pack in an effectiveness in recovery without making you feel more full. Gosh, honestly, if I could go back, this would be one of the first things that I really try to push myself to do. The next one is full fat dairy. Notice how I didn't say non-fat dairy or 1% or 2%. No. I'm talking about full fat dairy. I'm talking about that whole milk. I'm talking about that 5% Greek yogurt stuff. Full fat dairy has a decent amount of fat, good fat, a decent amount of protein, and a good amount of carbs. And milk, if you drink milk, milk can be a part of those shakes that you make. Milk can be a part of those drinking calories. You can drink milk at every meal if you want to help really further eating disorder recovery progress. Tastes pretty good nutrition-wise, checks the box, doesn't make you super bloated or super full, gets the job done, and also was something that I could honestly handle. In college specifically, I didn't drink as much milk, but I did eat a lot of Greek yogurt. In fact, I started replacing sour cream with Greek yogurt just because it has more protein and different set of nutritional value. Now, also, I've come to find out that I have kind of a dairy intolerance, aka I drank milk for the first time in ages last week, and I felt like death for like 2 days straight. So I have stopped really consuming dairy. But way back when I didn't have necessarily as much of a dairy intolerance, I found that full fat dairy has really helped me so much. That's why I'm putting it in my top 10. Now, okay, this next one, I'm cheating a little bit. That's okay. It's still in the top 10. It's not exactly like a specific food. Let me explain. The next food is eating out, okay? So like eating out is not like a specific food, but it of course does involve food still. So I'm talking about like fast food, I'm talking about like sit down restaurants, I'm just talking about eating somewhere outside of your home, wherever you live. Now this is really good and it belongs in the top 10 for a couple of reasons. A, it checks all the boxes. Like there's always a wide selection. There's always a wide availability of different foods when you go out to eat. But also it belongs in the top 10 because eating out is a really good way to push yourself mentally specifically. Now, I've had a number of people asking me to make a video about handling anxiety around choice, around having a lot of different food options. So that is a video that I'm going to make, that I'm going to put out. But eating out still, until we get there, eating out still belongs in the top 10 because eating out is going to push you to, yes, be a little stressed and yes, step outside of your comfort zone, but also it's going to enable you to pick foods that you normally don't really have at your disposal. Take like McDonald's, for instance, getting like a quarter pounder. That's something that you normally probably don't eat, but eating out and choosing options like a quarter pounder are going to push you closer towards recovery, and that is why it belongs on my list, the top 10. The next spot on the top 10 belongs to beef. Now, beef is something that, again, I was not really for early on in recovery, but as I spent more and more time recovering, I took advantage of beef. Beef is something that you can, A, make a lot of different ways. It, again, checks all the boxes, but really, when it came down to it, beef is something that is calorically dense and is something that I could eat less of to reach the same spot that I needed to eat like a lot of chicken to reach. So basically, I could eat less beef. If it was a choice between like a certain amount of foods that I had to eat, I could either eat like less beef or I could eat like double the amount of chicken, just in terms of like quantity on my plate. And I reached this spot at a point in recovery when I really started to swap like the healthier foods, mostly was in college, like the healthier, good for you foods for foods that were more calorically dense, because I wanted to test it out, because I was honestly tired of being really so full all the time that I wanted to see what it would actually be like to eat just about all calorically dense foods. No, I'm really glad I did that because I was able to see just how much things like beef were able to help me progress through recovery. It felt good, honestly, not to be as full all the time, and beef really helped me get what I needed to get down, helped me get the job done again, but also it helped me kind of have room for more. It helped me have room for doubling down on my recovery, for eating even more food. All the vegans and vegetarians out there, I sincerely apologize. Maybe if you're vegan or vegetarian, you could replace this with tofu or seitan. I've had some pretty good tofu scrambles in my day, and seitan is really, really good. You've heard me talk about this next one time and time again, and I will talk about it probably until the day that I die as one of my primary best eating disorder recovery foods, and that is cereal. Cereal is probably at the core, in the early days, was at the core of my eating disorder recovery. I personally love trying new things. I love tasting new foods. And the reason that cereal worked so well for me was because I could change what cereal I got time and time again. And so the aspect for me of like changing what cereal I would eat like every week or every other week was honestly enough for me to actually eat the cereal. Like the joy and love of experiencing a new food or a new taste or a new flavor was enough for me to overcome like the fear of eating the food for real. Like similarly with oats, I could mix it with my protein shakes, I could mix it with my Ensure. You know, and cereal is not like super nutritious, so it's like kind of half checking that box. But all the other boxes, it checks enough for me, and it is one of my personal favorites, is why it's on this list. That is my top 10. Now, notice how I didn't say this is like the top 10 foods that you have to eat in an eating disorder. No, this is just my personal list of foods that I have found really helped me progress in an eating disorder, and they're foods that I love. They're effective, they work, they taste good, nutritious, all those boxes these foods check. Now there is actually a bonus food. That bonus food, the food that in my mind trumps all these 1 through 10, top 10, my top 10. The best food is the food that you are going to eat the most of. You know, I could go back in time and like change everything that I ate or try to change everything that I ate, but really the reality of the situation was, especially in the early days, it was really tough mentally for me to pick like the beef over the chicken. And once I got to college, when I can handle that a little bit easier and a little bit more, I picked the beef over the chicken. In the early days, like, it was really important for me to just flat out get the amount of food and the amount of calories that I needed. I was going to do that by eating the foods that I wanted to eat. Chicken, potatoes, peas, stuff like that. So the best food, honestly, is whichever food you personally are going to get enough of. If that is a cup of peas compared to like half of a potato, then that's what it is. But you've got to eat that cup of peas. If it's like two heads of broccoli, then you can eat those 2 heads of broccoli, full well knowing that it's going to fill you up and make you feel very, very bloated for a long time. So the best food is the one that you are going to eat enough of. Also, if you'll notice, I actually did not include any fruits or vegetables on my personal list of top 10. Why? Well, because I kind of include those as just like givens in recovery. Like, they're good to have because, of course, like, vegetables are going to provide nutrition, fruits are going to provide nutrition. You really can't get otherwise unless you like supplement a lot. So I'll kind of just include like fruits and vegetables as like a sort of given. Like, they're already there, you know? Like, they're kind of moving in between the objects on the list. It's important to include those in the foods that you eat, fruits and vegetables. But also know that, like, at least I really learned as time went on, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna eat less peas and I'm just gonna eat more potatoes because it's like easier. But that's it, everybody. My list of my top 10 foods for eating disorder recovery. I know probably not everything that you eat or that you like is on this list. So actually, I would personally love to know what your favorite food is right now for eating disorder recovery. If it follows one of these, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. But let me know down below. I want to know what your favorite thing is in recovery. That's it for me. That's it from my end. That is the video of the week. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope that maybe it gave you some good ideas for foods to try out, foods to maybe throw into your top 10, or to make your own list of top 10 foods you can share with other people. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to talk, if you want to DM me, feel free to reach out on my personal Instagram. It's really what I use to keep in touch with people. And hey, that's it. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching this video again. Really hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week to talk more about eating disorder stuff. Thanks for watching.